where the joint family will be running the business, and almost all the members who are born in the family, they automatically become partners of the family business. Only the Karta will be having unlimited liability, whereas the other members of the business, they will be having only limited liability. In case the business assets are not sufficient to meet the losses, the loans of the business, then his property can be attached by the creditors of the organization. So such kind of a partner, we call it as nominal partner. Hello everyone, I am Purnima, faculty in the Department of Commerce, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysore. I welcome you all to this session on Chapter 2, Session 1. Now, let us see what are the contents of this chapter. Now, in Chapter 2, we will be having a discussion on the various forms of business organization. Now, the first form of business organization is the sole proprietorship, where we will be learning about the features, the merits of sole proprietorship and the limitations of sole proprietorship. Now, after that, the second form of business organization is the joint Hindu family business. So, this kind of a business organization is exclusively found only in India. So, where the joint family will be running the business, and almost all the members who are born in the family, they automatically become partners of the family business. So, here also we will be studying about the features, merits and limitations of joint Hindu family business. Then next we will also be having look into what do we mean by partnership. So in this we will be studying about the features of partnership, what are the merits, what are the limitations, what are the type of partners, the types of partnerships, partnership deed and registration of partnership. Then next we will have a look into the cooperative societies, the features, merits, limitations and types of cooperative societies. Then we will also be having a discussion on joint stock companies. Now features, merits, limitations and types of companies. Now, so this will be the the content for chapter 2. So now let us start off with sole proprietorship. So this is one of the oldest forms of business organization. So any person who intends to start a business, he can always start a business as a sole proprietor. So he will be the only owner of the business. He will take all decisions and he will be the person who will be investing money and he will be reaping all the profits, and if there are any losses, he will be bearing the losses, etc. So all this is because of this form of business organization called as the sole proprietorship. Now, let us see what this slide tells us. Now, the sole proprietorship refers to a form of business organization which is owned, managed and controlled by an individual who is the recipient of all profits and bearer of all risks. So, here the sole proprietor will be the owner of the business. So, he will be investing money, he will be managing the business, he will be controlling the business and he will be the recipient of all profits and he will be bearing all the risks in the business. The word sole implies only and proprietor refers to owner. So sole means one, proprietor means owner. So where in a business there is only one owner, we call it as a sole proprietorship. Now in a sole proprietorship business, we should understand that the sole proprietor will be investing all his savings into the business and he will be managing the business, controlling the business, taking business decisions, and the business will be entirely dependent on the owner. So in a sole proprietorship form of organization, we say that the liability is unlimited. Now what do we mean by unlimited liability? In case the business assets are not sufficient to cover the loans of the business, then the owner will have to sell off his personal assets and make good the losses of the business. So this is one of the major drawback of this kind of a business organization, and the life of this business organization is also very, very limited. So it is limited up to the life of the owner, and in case any of his children want to continue the business, only then the business can continue, otherwise that business will die there itself. Now let us look into what are the features of sole proprietorship. Now first one is formation and closure. Now when we are talking about formation and closure of a sole proprietorship concern, we should say that it has got ease of formation. Now what do we mean by ease of formation? There are absolutely no formalities as such. He can always rent a building or hire a building, or if he has an own building, he can always start his business in his own building. And then there are no legal formalities as such, except that he may have to have a license to run the business. Other than that, there are no other formalities involved. Then closure also. So whenever the proprietor feels that he is not able to run the business, he can always close down his business. So there is ease of formation and ease of closure in this kind of a business organization. Then the second feature is liability. So the liability is unlimited. Now as just now I explained to you what do we mean by unlimited liability. So it refers to the liability will extend to the personal assets of the owner. So when the business assets are not sufficient to cover the loans of the business, then the personal assets of the owner will have to be attached to repay the loans of the business. So that is what we mean by unlimited liability. Then the third feature of this kind of a business organization is the sole risk bearer and profit recipient. So he will be bearing all the risks involved in business. So we have studied about the various kinds of risks in business. So in the first chapter itself, so whatever is the risk, it may be the natural risk or it may be the financial risk or any type of risk, it will be solely borne by the proprietor of the business, and then he will be the sole profit recipient. If the business makes huge profits, then he will be the recipient of all profits. He need not share his profit with anybody. Then next one is control. The entire business will be under the control, managerial control of the owner of the business. Suppose he is a very good manager, he can run the business very efficiently. Then no separate entity. Now in the eyes of law, if we just think about this kind of a business, we should understand that business and the owner are the same. So here no separate entity means, so if the losses are, owner will be solely responsible for all the losses of the business, and as such while we writing in the books of accounts, we say that the business is separate and the owner is separate, but in the eyes of law, the business and owner are one and the same. So any losses of the business will be losses of the owner itself. Then last one is lack of business continuity. Now what do we mean by this? So this kind of a business will run only until that owner is alive. So and if he wishes to continue, so it depends on the will and wish of the owner. Suppose a owner decides to stop the business, he can always close the business anytime he wants. But then it is solely dependent on the life of the owner. So if the owner is alive, and if suppose anything happens to the owner, then the business will have to suffer. If there is nobody to take care of the business, then the business will suffer and it may close down. So the business depends on the owner's will and wish, the owner's lunacy, or the owner's it depends on his lifespan, etc. So this kind of a business, it does not run for a very long period. So maximum period it may run for 10 to 20 years. After that, if the owner's children do not take care of the business, then the business will lack continuity. Now let us look into what are the merits of sole proprietorship. Now the first one is quick decision making. Now what do we mean by quick decision making? Here the owner need not consult anybody for any decisions of the business. So whenever there is a business opportunity, he can just seize the opportunity and make huge profits. profits. So that is, with his quick decision making, he should be able to identify what are the opportunities before the business, and he should encash on those opportunities. So quick decision making will help sometimes in the success of a business. Then second one is confidentiality of information. So in some businesses, the business will run on the basis of certain secrets of the business. So this sole proprietorship, so he need not share any of the business secrets with anybody, because he is the sole owner of the business. So all the secrets of the business can be kept confidential in this kind of a organization. Then next one is direct incentive. Now what is this direct incentive? The sole proprietorship will be rewarded for all his hard work and efforts if he makes huge profits. So it is directly proportional to the efforts he is putting and the profits he is reaping. So the more efforts he puts and the more interest he shows in his business, the more rewards he will be entitled to. So there is a direct proportion between the efforts and the profits he will be earning through the business. Then fourth one is sense of accomplishment. Now what is this sense of accomplishment? So if the owner of the business, if he wants to start a business and he is earning lots of money because of the business, he will get that sense of accomplishment. Yes, I have achieved it. I am a self-made man. So whatever money he has invested in the business, if he is getting more returns on the whatever he has invested, then he will get that sense of achievement that he has become a successful businessman. So that we can get only in this kind of a business. Then last merit of this sole proprietorship is ease of formation and closure. And this kind of a sole proprietorship kind of a organization, it is very easy to form because there are absolutely no formalities, and also we can be closed very easily because there are no formalities involved. And as such, this is one of the most popular kinds of organization we can see. Then let us look into what are the limitations of sole proprietorship. Now in the limitations, we see that there are limited resources. So here you can see in the picture the pockets, he is just emptying his pockets. So the sole proprietorship, he will be the one who will be providing capital for the business, and whatever capital he is able to accumulate or whatever capital he can just collect from all his sources, only that he can make use of for his business. So it is usually limited resources in case of a sole proprietorship. Maximum he can borrow from his friends or he can borrow from a bank, and after that he cannot raise any other money. So we have limited resources in this kind of a organization. Then second one is limited life of the business concern. Now why we call it as a limited life? Because it is entirely dependent on the owner. So the death of the owner, the lunacy of the owner, the insolvency of the owner, all this will have a bearing on the business, and as such the business may continue or may not continue. So that is one of the limitations of this kind of a organization. Then third one is unlimited liability. Now what is this unlimited liability? I had explained to you earlier. The personal assets of the owner can be attached to pay off the business loans in case the business assets are not sufficient. Then last one is limited managerial ability. So these kinds of business organizations, they are entirely dependent on the owner of the business. So whatever his ability to manage the business and run the business, so he will be doing so, but he cannot hire any professionals to run his business because of limited resources. So whatever knowledge he has about the business, so he will be making use of that knowledge, and that managerial skill what he has, he will be making use of it, and he will be just running the business. So we say that it is limited managerial ability. So based on his managerial skills, the business will be running, and if it is not good, then that will be a limitation for this kind of an organization. Then the next kind of a business organization organization we have to study is the joint Hindu family business. So this kind of a joint Hindu family business can be found only in India. So any business which is run with help of all the members of the family, that we can consider it as the joint Hindu family business, and almost all the members of the family, whoever is born in that family, he automatically becomes a member of the family business. Now this kind of a family business is found only in India. The head of the family, the eldest member of the family, the Karta, so he will be looking after the business, and all the other members, they will be called as the co-parsonas. Co-parsonas. So they will be assisting the Karta in the business. So the entire family will be involved in running this kind of a business, and the Karta, who is the head of the family, he will be taking almost all the decisions relating to the business. And one important feature of this kind of a joint Hindu family business is the Karta's liability is unlimited, whereas all the co-parsonas' liability is limited. So whenever the Karta has to take any decisions, he will have to take the decisions very carefully, because he has unlimited liability, whereas the co-parsonas, they will be having limited liability. So their liability will be limited only up to their share in the business, and as such the entire family will be involved in running this kind of a business. Now these kind of a business are found to be running very well if there is proper understanding and there is cooperation between the family members. Suppose there is any kind of a quarrel or any friction among the family members, then this kind of a business will not run well. But then we should understand that this joint Hindu family business will have a very long lifespan, because suppose the head of the family, that is if the Karta dies, then whoever is next in the family, he assumes the position of the Karta and he will be running the business. So in this way we can say that this kind of a joint Hindu family business, it will have continuity, because as and when one generation goes away, the next generation will be ready to step into the shoes of the Karta. So in this way we can say that the life of the business is good, because there is continuity in operations in this kind of a business. Now let us look into the features. Now in this, if we can see that first one, formation. Now let us look into the first feature, that is formation. Now we should understand this kind of a joint Hindu family business can be started if there are only two members in a family and they would have inherited ancestral property. So with the help of this, anybody can start a business, and this business will be governed by the Hindu Succession Act of 1956. So the formation of this kind of a business organization is very easy, as there are no formalities as such, and any birth in the family, so whoever is born into that family, he automatically gets membership of this kind of a business organization. Then second one is liability. So within this, the liability of the business, the Karta of the business will be having unlimited liability, whereas the co-parsonas, they will be having limited liability. So the Karta should make proper decisions whenever he is running the business, because of his decisions the entire business may suffer and they may have to lose the property as such, and it is always the Karta who will be responsible for the business loans. Then next one is control. So this kind of a business organization will be controlled by the Karta and the co-parsonas. So all the members who are born in that family, they will be controlling the business, and the main control will be with the Karta of the organization. So he will be looking into the affairs of the business, he will be managing the business, and usually all the members who are of the members of the family will be they will be assisting the Karta in running the business. Then fourth one is continuity. So this kind of a business organization has a large continuity. It will be continuing for quite a long time, because if anything happens to the Karta, then the next in line he will be taking the position of the Karta, and as such the business will run from generation to generation. Then the last one is minor members. The inclusion of minor members into the business can be done because the membership of this kind of a business is done through birth in the family. So if anyone who is born into that family, he automatically becomes a member of this kind of a business. Now let us look into what are the merits of joint Hindu family business. Now the first one is effective control. Now in this kind of a business, we can see that there is effective control over the business, because the business will be headed by the eldest in the family, and almost all the family members will be respecting the decision of the eldest in the family, and as such he will be running the show. So he will be advising his juniors, and he would have got trained from his elders. So as such, he would have got proper training from his elder members in the organization, and as such he will have effective control over the business. Then second one is continued business existence. So we have seen instances of this joint Hindu family business running from generation to generation. So whenever the Karta has expired or something, then the next in position will take the mantle and he will be running the show, and as such we can see that this type of a business has continued existence. Then the next merit of this is limited liability of the members. So this is one of the important merits of this kind of a business organization, because they would have inherited ancestral property, and only the Karta will be having unlimited liability, whereas the other members of the business, they will be having only limited liability. Then next one is increased loyalty and cooperation. Now what is this increased loyalty and cooperation? So in this kind of a business organization, the members should be extremely loyal to the Karta, and they should cooperate with the Karta. If there is proper understanding and a good teamwork, only then this kind of a business organization can run, and this will bind the family together. So these are the merits of a joint Hindu family business, or you call it as the HUF. So it is also called as HUF. What is the full form of this? Hindu Undivided Family. Then next, let us see what are the limitations of this kind of a business. Now, let us have a look into what are the limitations of this kind of a business. Now, in the limitations, the first one is limited resources. Now, what do we mean by limited resources? So, in this kind of a business organization, we can see that they are entirely dependent on the ancestral property for their business. So, that will be the main source of finance for the business, and as such, so this may not be sufficient for the business expansion. Then the second limitation is the unlimited liability of the Karta. Now what do we mean by unlimited liability? So the Karta is mainly responsible for all the business decisions, and he is also overburdened with the business loans. So if any of the business loans, if the business assets are not sufficient to meet the loans, then the Karta's personal assets will be attached for the business. The third limitation is the dominance of Karta. Now we can see that the Karta will be managing the entire business, which may not be acceptable for the other family members, and because of which there may be conflicts arising among the members of the business. Then the last one is limited managerial skills. Now the Karta cannot have all the skills. So he may be good in running some of the business activities, but he may not be good in running all the kinds of business business activity as such, and this may have a bearing on the business, and eventually the business which is dependent on the karta, so it may fail. So these are the limitations of this kind of a Hindu family. Then next form of business organization is called as partnership. Now, what do we mean by partnership? When two or more members, they come together and start a business, we can call it as a partnership form of a organization. So whenever the business has to be set up and it requires lot of funds, and the single owner cannot bring in all those funds to the business, then he can always ask 2 or 3 of his friends to help him, and all the 3 or 5 or maximum 7 or 20 of them can invest in one single business and start a business. So this form of an organization where 2 or more persons, they invest in the business, they run the business, and they earn the profits whatever their business is giving, and they share it among them. So this kind of a business organization, we call it as partnership. Now let us see the definition of partnership. So the Indian Partnership Act of 1932 defines partnership as the relation between persons who have agreed to share the profit of the business carried on by all or any one of them acting for all. So the Partnership Act of 1932, it defines a partnership as it is a relationship between persons. So any two persons, so who have agreed to share the profits of the business. So it may be any number of persons, a maximum of 20. So they can just come into an agreement. What is the kind of agreement? So they have agreed to share the profits of the business which is carried on by all of them. So all of them can come and run the business, or any one of them acting for all. So any one partner can run the business and he will be acting on behalf of all other partners. So the Partnership Act is very clear that the business can be run by any one of them or all of them can run the business, and they will be in partnership agreement. They will be sharing the profits and losses of the business, and they will be bearing the risks of the business, and all of them will have unlimited liability. So in this kind of a business organization, we should understand that partnership form of organization, it will run on the goodwill and friendship and loyalty of all the partners. So if the partners are very understanding and if there is mutual trust and understanding between all the partners, then the business can do well. But if there is mistrust, or if they don't trust anybody, or if there is conflict among the partners, then this kind of a business organization cannot survive for a very long period. Then next, let us look into what are the features of this kind of a partnership kind of a organization. Now in this, the first one is formation. Now let us look into the features of this kind of a business organization. The first one is formation. Now what do we mean by formation? This kind of organization can come into existence when there is an agreement between the partners. So as per this kind of a business organization is governed by the Partnership Act of 1932. So as per the Partnership Act of 1932, the partnership form of organization comes into existence when there is an agreement signed between the partners of the business organization. So when they agree to have a relationship among each other, then when they will be specifying what is the share of profit they will be having, what is the share of investment they will have, and how the losses will be shared, etc., and who will be running the business. So all these things will be laid down in the partnership agreement, and once everybody, all the partners, they just agree to this kind of an agreement, then this kind of a business organization can come into existence. Then the second one is liability. Now when we think of the liability of the partnership firm, all of the partners are equally liable and all of them have unlimited liability. So in case the business assets are not sufficient to cover the loans of the business, then each partner will be jointly and severally liable for the losses of the business. So every partner's personal assets may be attached in case the business asset is not sufficient to repay the loans of the business. And in case any one partner's assets have been attached, then he can always claim that kind of amount from the other partners whenever the business assets are not sufficient. Then third one is risk bearing. Now this kind of a risk bearing, so all the partners will be exposed to the risk. Now what do we mean by this? So any business is bound to have risk. Now in this, all the partners will have to bear the risks of the business. So each of the partner, whether it is jointly or severally, all of them will be bearing the risks of the business. Then next one is decision making and control. Now what is this decision making and control? So all the partners will have to take decisions, and if one partner is an active partner and he is taking the decisions, his decisions will be binding on all the partners. So as such, the decision making can be done in consultation with all the partners, or if they give all the rights to one partner and whatever decision he takes, that decision will be binding on all the partners as such. And we can say that all the partners are in the capacity of the principal as well as an agent. Then next one is continuity. So this kind of a partnership kind of a organization, it depends on the health of the partners. So their death, lunacy, retirement, etc., it may have a bearing on the continuity of the business. And as such, so if any of the partners die and if the rest of the partners decide to run the business, only then this business can survive. Then the next one is the number of partners. So usually the minimum number of partners required to start this kind of a business is 2 and the maximum is 20. So now because of the latest amendment, the government has told almost 50 members can become partners in one kind of a business. Then the last one is mutual agency. Now what is this mutual agency? The definition of the Partnership Act itself tells us that the partners of the business, each of them acting for all, or the business is run by all of them or one of them acting for all. So what does this tell us? So even if one partner is taking any decision, that decision will be binding on all other partners. So that is what we call as the mutual agency. That is, all the partners will be acting in the capacity of the principal as well as an agent. So these are the features of this kind of a business organization. Now let us see what are the types of partners. Now the first type of partner is the active partner. Now who is an active partner? An active partner is one who will be investing in the business. So he will be investing money in the business and he will be helping in running the business also. So he will be bearing all the risks of the business, and if there are any losses, he will be having a share of losses also. So in other words, an active partner is one who will be taking care of the affairs of the business. So he is called as an active partner. Now the next kind of a partner is the sleeping or the dormant partner. Now the sleeping partner or a dormant partner, he does not he will not participate actively in the affairs of the business, but he will be investing in the business. He contributes capital to the business and he will be liable for the losses of the business, but he will not take part in the activities of the business. The next kind of partner is the secret partner. Now this secret partner is, so he will not be known to the public as the partner of the organization, but he will be contributing to the capital, he will be having a share of his losses, and he will be acting as a partner in all capacity, but the public will not know that he is a partner. So such kinds of partners are secret partners. Then the next type of a partner is nominal partner. So nominal partner is one who allows the use of his or her name along with the firm. So his name can be used by the other partners in the business. So he will not contribute to the business, he will not bear losses of the business, but then if in case the business assets are not sufficient to meet the losses, the loans of the business, then his property can be attached by the creditors of the organization. So such kind of a partner, we call it as nominal partner. Now, the next kind of a partner is partner by estoppel. Now, what do we mean by partner by estoppel? So, in this kind of a business organization, so one person, he behaves or he gives an impression that he is a partner of the organization. So, he does not contribute capital, he does not have share in the profits, he will not bear the losses of the business organization, but then he takes parts in the activities of the business organization and gives an impression to others that he is a partner of the firm, and based on his negotiations, if there is any credit extended to the partnership firm and if the partnership firm fails to repay that kind of a loan which is borrowed, then he will be liable to bear the losses of that particular organization. Such a partner, we call it as partner by estoppel. Then the last kind of partner is partner by holding out. Now, this kind of a partner, so in this partner by holding out, we should understand that a person who is not a partner of the business, he knowingly represents himself as a partner of the firm, and he just even though he does not contribute any capital to the business, or he will not be having any share in the profits or losses of the business, so he represents himself as a partner of the firm. So such a partner we called as partner by holding out. Now, if he wants to save himself from any of the losses of the firm, he has to issue a denial that he is not a partner of the firm, and if he issues a denial only, he will be saving himself from the debts of that kind of a partnership firm. In case he does not issue any denial regarding his partnership, then he will have to bear with the losses of that kind of a business organization. So these are the various kinds of partners we find in a partnership form of organization. Now, the next is, let us look into the various types of partnerships. Now, partnerships can be classified on the basis of two factors, that is duration and liability. So, on the basis of duration, there can be two types of partnerships. Now, the first one is partnership at will. So, based on the duration, we have partnership at will. Now, let us see what this tells us. So, this type of a partnership exists at the will of the partners. It can continue as long as the partners want and is terminated when any partner gives a notice of withdrawal from partnership to the firm. So, a partnership will is a kind of partnership firm where it depends on the will of the partners. So, if any one of the partners gives a notice to the others saying that he is withdrawing the partnership from the firm, then that kind of a partnership firm will dissolve, and this kind of a partnership we call it as partnership at will. Then the next kind of a partnership firm is called as particular partnership. Now, what do we mean by particular partnership? The partnership formed for the accomplishment of a particular project, say construction of a building or an activity to be carried on for a specified time, is called as particular partnership. Now, in this particular partnership, we should understand that this partnership has been done for the completion of a particular project. So, it may be a construction of a road, construction of a building, construction of a bridge, etc. So, once the project is over, then the partnership will immediately get dissolved. So, or it may be the partnership for a specified time. They may say that we can be partners for 2 years or 3 years, etc. So, for a specific time, if they have entered into an agreement to become partners, then also we can call it as a particular partnership. Then next, the classification on the basis of liability. Now, on the basis of liability, we have the general partnership and second one is limited partnership. Now, let us see what do we mean by general partnership. So, in this general partnership form of an organization, each partner's liability will be unlimited and each partner is jointly and severally liable for all the business loans. So, they can all participate in the activities of the partnership concern and the partnership will be totally dependent on the death, lunacy or retirement of any one of the partner. So, this kind of a partnership firm, we call it as general partnership. Now, the next kind of partnership firm is called as the limited partnership. Now, the next kind of a partnership is limited partnership. Now, what do we mean by limited partnership? In this partnership organization, the liability of one of the partners will be unlimited, whereas all other partners will have limited liability. So, the partner with unlimited liability, he will be looking after the affairs of the business and all other partners will not have any say in the business and as such, they cannot participate in the management and control of the business. Now, this kind of a partnership organization, the registration is compulsory, whereas in a general partnership form of organization, the registration of the partnership firm is not compulsory. Now, we cannot find this limited partnership form of organization in India, but then with the passing of the Small Industries Act in 1991, they have suggested for this kind of a limited partnership where we could attract the equity from the partners. Because of this unlimited liability, which is one of the greatest limitation of this kind of a business organization, the government decided to pass this new Small Industries Act of 1991, because of which any of the persons who are interested in starting a business, they can start the business with the help of limited liability. So, in case the business runs into a loss, their personal assets need not be attached. So, this is one of the latest developments in this kind of a limited partnership form of organization. Now, let us understand what is the meaning of partnership deed. So, the written agreement which specifies the terms and conditions that govern the partnership is called as the partnership deed. So, it is the written agreement. What is the written agreement between the partners? So, agreement is something, all the terms and conditions mentioned there, it should be agreed upon between all the partners. So, such a type of an agreement, we call it as written agreement and it specifies the terms and conditions. So, what is the capital invested by each partner, what will be his profit sharing ratio and what will be the losses, who will have to help in running the business, etc. So, all these terms and conditions will be mentioned in this partnership deed and as such this deed will be the guiding factor for running the business. Then next, let us look into the registration of partnership. The registration of a partnership firm means the entering of the firm's name along with the relevant prescribed particulars in the registrar of firms kept with the registrar of firms. So, it provides conclusive proof of the existence of a partnership firm. Now, what do we mean by registration? Registration is nothing but you just enter the firm's name in the registrar. So, registrar of firms. So, when you enter, you have to pay the prescribed registration fees and we have to submit the necessary documents to the registrar of firms and then we can get the firm registered. So, it provides conclusive proof that existence of a partnership firm. So, with the registration of the firms, we can always say that the firm has been successfully registered. So, with this, we have come to the end of this session on forms of business organization. Hope you have all understood this. Thank you.